So let's talk about all this with Michael Reagan. Let's welcome in. He's a Newsmax contributor, also the best-selling author of the wonderful book, Lessons My Father Taught Me, about his dad, President Ronald Reagan. And Michael, before we get to all the FISA stuff, I wanted to get your take on Trump touting his tax plan today while the markets were in free fall.
Well, that's what he should be doing, is pushing his tax plan, selling his tax plan to America, because what's going to happen is everybody in that room is going to see more money in their pockets because of it. The market always goes through corrections. My father said way back in the 1980s, when he was asked when the market went into a free fall, he said, what goes down must go up. What goes up must go down. Not to worry. I called my broker today. Not to worry. Everybody expected there was going to be a correction at some point in time, and now you're seeing the correction. But will it go back up? Yeah. And remember, it's at 24,000. It's not at 12,000. It's at 24,000. So people aren't getting killed today. They're just seeing the correction. It'll move forward in not too many weeks.
And that's why I wanted to bring up those numbers from 2008. The stock market fell 777 points, but that was percentage-wise twice as much as it fell today. Also, as you pointed out, the fundamentals with the economy. You hear about the employment and those things. Those are much better today than they were back in 2008. So you heard it from Michael Reagan. Not a time to be concerned.
The market goes down by 1,100 points, but unemployment still is at 4%. We're still growing at 3% plus. Everybody's, IRAs and all of those investments they made are still up. Maybe they're down today, but they're up for the year. So really, not to worry.
No, well, I think it's always a good idea to keep an eye on things, but you're absolutely right, Michael. I think most economists, and this is not my area of expertise, but from what I've been reading, this falls under a normal correction, nothing out of the ordinary here, but it has got a lot of attention today, so we wanted to start with that. But let's move on and talk about the FISA Memo fallout. Switching topics here, at the top of the hour, we had some of those sound bites from the reaction of folks pouring in. The president now says he feels completely vindicated by the release of this memo, the president tweeting over the weekend. Quote, this memo totally vindicates Trump. I don't know why he put it in quotations in the probe, but Russian witch hunt goes on, and there was no collusion and there was no obstruction. The word now used because after 1 year of looking endlessly and finding nothing, collusion is dead. This is an American disgrace. Do you agree? Is this an American disgrace, Michael?
No, it is an American disgrace. I will agree that there was no collusion. I agree with all of that, but he has not been vindicated. I go along with Gowdy on that one at this point. And again...
Well, hold on, Michael, because we have that. We have what Trey Gowdy said because it's very important. Now, before you go too much further, I want to play what Trey Gowdy said since you brought it up. Take a listen.
There is a Russia investigation without a dossier. So to the extent the memo deals with the dossier and the FISA process, the dossier has nothing to do with the meeting at Trump Tower. The dossier has nothing to do with an email sent by Cambridge Analytica. The dossier really has nothing to do with George Papadopoulos' meeting in Great Britain. It also doesn't have anything to do with obstruction of justice. So there's going to be a Russia probe even without a dossier.
So, Michael, expand on that a little bit because you agree with Trey Gowdy.
I agree with Trey Gowdy on that. And what I think is right, and people have said it today, that, the Democrats want to put their memo out. The Republicans put their memo out, and let's be honest, they're both going to be political in the way they are written because that's the nature of the beast in Washington. Why don't we ask and see exactly what was given to FISA, to the courts, in order for them to go forward? Let's put it all on the table so the American people can see exactly what was said in the FISA document that the courts ruled on. Let's look at it. Instead of looking at the political side of it from the left and the right, or Democrats or Republicans, let's see exactly what the judge saw for him to make that order and allow those things to go forward.
Now, there's been a lot of concern and some hand-wringing about whether or not the American public could actually see that type of information. We all know the FISA warrant system is secret and everything's under wraps. But you feel like, Michael, we're at a place now where the American public should see this information, has a right to see this information. You think it would help the process?
We do, because right now everything's political. I mean, you talk to anybody on the left, you know where they stand. Anybody on the right, you see where they stand. There's a lot of people out there in the middle confused about what the hell is going on. Why don't we just put it all on the table?
I'm confused.
And see exactly what was there at the judge looked at.